this ready now.
Go ahead. Go ahead.
Can you talk about the significance of what's happening here?
We're turning in more than 25,000 signatures today, which is far more than the 10,792 that we need. So we're very confident that we'll have more than enough signatures to qualify for the ballot. And we're very pleased to be turning them in today as the final stage of the signature process.
And this is just hours after the state Supreme Court gives this a green light. Is there any question in your mind that the voters in November will decide whether marijuana should be legal?
At this point, we have very little doubt that it's going to be on the ballot in November. And we're very pleased, by the way, that the SJC ruled that Massachusetts voters will have their voices heard in November. And we think that's a great ruling for Massachusetts voters, for the state, because this is an issue that needs to be addressed. Our initiative, we think, puts forth a very common sense alternative to the failed prohibition system that exists today. And again, the SJC today ruled really in favor of Massachusetts voters like looking at this and saying we have to take a different path. So we're thrilled that Massachusetts voters will have that chance.
The court also said that the title should be clarified and the explanation of what a yes vote means should be clarified. Are you happy with that?
We're very pleased with that. That was our suggestion, by the way. We had actually asked that the wording be changed so that it more accurately reflects the intent of our initiative, which is to legalize, regulate, and tax marijuana. We think that that gives an accurate and very clear depiction of what we want to do. So we're very pleased with that language change.
The justices seem very focused on making sure that voters were aware that marijuana concentrate could be added to food products. They mentioned that several times in the ruling. Is that something that, how do you feel about that? There are some who believe that voters might be a little bit less inclined to support it, knowing that it might be in candy or beverages and that kind of thing.
Well, the important thing for Massachusetts voters to know is that the Cannabis Control Commission has full authority over what can be sold and what cannot. It won't be the retailers who determine what's sold, what type of products, what shape, what size, what look. It'll be regulators who determine that. And what we're learning from other states is that, yes, you have to take a careful approach to smoke-free products. Already in Colorado, we've seen the legislature make illegal gummy bears, gummy worms, anything shaped like a something that would attract the child. We think that's a great rule. We think that the Cannabis Control Commission, by the time they start setting these regulations in 2017, will have even more data from the other states. So we think that we're going to have a very, very stringent system regarding smoke-free products.
Can you talk a little bit about your strategy going forward now once these signatures are certified? How do you plan to advertise on television, or is it face-to-face forum type thing?
It's going to be all of those. Right now we're in the midst of building coalitions across the state, different people, elected officials, appointed officials, groups, civic groups, government groups, and we're working with different people to get the message out. There will be a substantial media buy sometime after Labor Day. We haven't focused on the exact dates yet, but we're going to get the message out to voters through a variety of different methods, and we're going to educate them about what our initiative does and how it's working in other states. And also, the momentum here. Canada is going to have a legal system in 2017. They've already indicated that it will be a taxed and regulated system, pretty much like we're proposing. So really, there's a lot of momentum going on here internationally.
And can you repeat, how I guess your group plans to target how these products are marketed again towards children when it comes to edibles like candies and cookies?
Yeah, the Cannabis Control Commission already in our initiative has strict orders not to allow any marketing toward children whatsoever. Further, they have the ability to determine what products are sold. So again, we're looking at other states and seeing what they're allowing, what they're not allowing. We're going to learn from their best practices.
Jim, how do you respond to the assertion that this initiative represents so-called big marijuana coming into Massachusetts, and that this is sort of a corporate push?
That's, our opponents are saying that. The fact is big marijuana doesn't even exist. It just does not exist. There's not a big industry that's dominating this. There's a lot of different organizations. They may have 1, 2, maybe 3 stores. Big marijuana, as our opponents are trying to describe it, it really doesn't exist. In Massachusetts, if our initiative moves forward, you're not going to see importation from other states. It has to be grown in Massachusetts. We've already, if you look at the list of people that have applied for medical marijuana. For the most part, it's venture capitalists, it's some people who are getting together, opening 1 or 2 stores. So we think that's a scare tactic that voters just are not going to fall for.
How much money do you think you'll need, or how much do you expect to raise for this ballot effort?
We're going to have a substantial buy. It'll be well over, $1.5 million media buy. The more the merrier, frankly. Like with any initiative, you want to have as much money as possible. We don't know how much our opponents are raising. We won't know that until September. So we're putting out, a lot of messages to people in Massachusetts who want to see this system changed. And if we want to see it changed, we have to have the adequate funding to counter whatever messages our opponents are giving.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
Thanks.